Hi everybody, this is Sarah from Serenity. Today's video is about the March 2021 forecast for Sagittarius natives. This includes sun, moon, and rising sign. Today I will be using the traditional Rider-Waite Tarot deck and also draw an additional card from the Crystal Spirits Oracle deck by Colleen Barrett Reed to show which crystal would be the most beneficial for you to work with during the month. You can always find out more about the cards and other videos in the description box below. I also have included a timestamp on this video if you want to just jump ahead. First, really briefly discuss the astrology for March for Sagittarius, and then we'll go into the card reading. And that being said, this is of course my take on both the astrology and the cards. So because of that, it probably won't resonate with everyone, and that's okay. If it doesn't resonate with you, no worries, just pass it on by, and I do hope you find what you're looking for. Oh, and really quick, I need to apologize to you, Sagittarius. Mercury got me. I did a Mercury retrograde video, and I'll link it up here. And in it, I did an overview of Mercury and talked about the pre-shadow and the post-shadow, which does continue into March. And I did a brief overview for each sign, and somehow I omitted Sagittarius, which is really interesting because I wrote it down. So yeah, I'm sorry. I do apologize. And that's another reason why I'm making this video first in the series, okay? If you want to learn more about Mercury, but not so much about Sagittarius, you can watch that video. And if not, once again, I'm sorry. I'll try and do better. And I'm sure that's not the only mistake I've made during Mercury. But anyway, let's get on to the astrology. February was basically January repeated. And all of it feels like you're still stuck in 2020. The good news is, though, March promises to be a really good month for you. Both March and April, actually. The only downside to it is things won't really shift until the last week of March. And I am also happy to report there aren't any retrogrades in March, which is a nice change too. Because we're out of the shadow of Mercury retrograde, the confusion will start lifting, the fog will lift, and you will feel more like yourself. You'll feel more like you're ready to go and get things done, and you're not caught in this emotional daze either. April will be a really good month for you too, free from the constraints of this foggy energy. But like I say, it'll start lifting in March, and then by the last of the month, you're definitely going to feel a big shift. This is a great time to plan for the future. If you are thinking about changing careers, going on a trip, whatever it may be, now is the time to plan it. Not do it, but plan it. And speaking of travel, I know you're ready to go. You're just itching to get out there and go somewhere. Sagittarius is known for its free spirit and its love of adventure, travel, and knowledge. Unfortunately, with the pandemic, and depending on how the rules are where you live, this hasn't been possible. Things will start shifting, but it's going to take time. I'm thinking it's going to be late summer before we see any big changes. But end of March, beginning of April, it's likely that you will do at least some day trips or something maybe like that. Maybe go to a retreat, maybe go to a B&B with your significant other, something small, but get out of the house, go on a road trip, something like that. And that will definitely help your energy because you do have cabin fever and you're ready to get out and do something. And who can blame you, right? I mean, this has been long enough. So overall, I would say plan local trips or something close by. And if you can, push it to the last week of March or into April. And I will be doing an April forecast shortly too. So if you haven't already, be sure and subscribe because you don't want to miss that. March and April are going to be probably the two best months for you in 2021. So definitely take advantage of this energy and use it. The end of the year is also going to be quite good. If you haven't already, watch the 2021 forecast for Sag, and I'll link it up here and below as well. And now for the card reading. We're going to draw 6 cards, and they are going to answer these questions. What you're bringing forward into the month of March, your biggest obstacle for the month, your biggest asset, your home life, your love life, both single and partnered, the outcome. In other words, where you will be if you continue on the path that you're currently on at the end of March. And then I will draw a crystal card for the best crystal for you to work with in the month of March. So let me shuffle really quickly and let's do this. And the first card is, what are you bringing forward from February into March? Interesting. The Fool upside down. For Sag, this year has been about resting, understanding self-care, and getting clear on what you really want. And staying home hasn't been easy for anyone, but it's been really tough for the fire signs, and especially Sagittarius and Aries. But things are going to get better and things are going to shift. This reversed Fool card shows us that we are actually living in the moment, and right now that moment's not so good. That moment is making you antsy, and it's really pushing your patience. And we need to be resting during this time, getting our ducks in order, so to speak. Or if we don't, we could end up repeating the same bad behavior over and over and hoping for a change, which we know that doesn't work, and that's pretty much the definition of crazy, isn't it? Just doing something over and over and hoping we'll have a different outcome. Cautions us that we should be more aware of what we're actually doing. And we need to also be aware of the people around us and make sure that we're not coming off naive or being taken advantage of. Sagittarius is generally not a naive sign. You don't give someone the keys to the kingdom, so to speak. I mean, you're friendly, but people have to make an effort to at least meet you halfway. That's not a big issue, but this isn't normal times either. After being locked in the house for a year, you're pretty much ready to go out there and make friends with the first person you see. So just be careful of that. As I said, March will begin slow, but the energy that's coming forward from February will just kind of feel like same old, same old. And I can hear you groaning already, but that's okay, because you know it's on a timer. Things are about to shift. And as they do, you will notice that you're feeling more like yourself as we get further out of that post-retrograde shadow, which I believe it ends on about the 15th. After that, you're going to start feeling better, and you're not going to be ruled so much by your emotions. Things overall were going to be much better. But yeah, the first couple of weeks, it's just going to seem like same old from 2020. Don't give up and don't lose faith. Things are shifting. So let's draw the second card, which is your biggest obstacle. Oh, interesting. The Seven of Wands. So this card generally means being very protective, standing up for yourself, defending yourself, protecting your territory. So this is about setting boundaries in relationships, not letting people goad you into fights, standing your ground. There's nothing you can't handle, but you're going to have to set those boundaries and you're going to have to stick up for yourself. You don't like conflict, but when it happens, you can generally handle it and you can generally stop it. But right now, with everything else going on, that's not something you even want to entertain. So it's going to be an obstacle for you in the month of March to set those boundaries and not let people walk over you just because you can't be bothered to deal with them. If you set the boundaries now, it becomes much easier than when the situation comes up. So if you have somebody you know that wants to borrow money and maybe they haven't paid you back, or you have someone who wants to maybe take advantage of you in some other way, go ahead and set the boundary now so you don't have to worry about it. And that will be your biggest obstacle for the month. So what do you have going for you, or what is your biggest asset in March? Oh, nice, nice. Knight of Cups. Lately, we've been seeing a lot of the King, Queen, and Knight cards turn up in other readings. This particular Knight doesn't rush in like some of the others do. This one follows protocol. He brings you a message, but he is in control. He understands what's at stake, and he is in control of his emotions. The cups always signify emotions or water. The message he's bringing you is positive, and it usually signifies a new beginning. So this could be a new love affair or a gain in business. But it's also about having your emotions under control and being tactful and diplomatic in dealing with others as you pursue these new ventures. So in other words, this is going to be a time where you really are aware of your actions and you're moving forward quickly. Things come easily to you, but it's also about being aware of how your actions are impacting those around you. We can see that you're going to make strides in business and in your relationships. Things are going to flow much easier, but you just have to kind of decide, where do you want to put your focus? Are you ready to look for a new job? Are you ready to, launch that side business, or what? What do you want? And then once you make up your mind, we can see that the universe is going to be sending you messages and things are going to fall into place. So things are going to work for you, but you just have to tell the universe what you want. Let's draw the next card, which will be your home life. Oh, okay, the devil. Are we surprised? No, probably not really. Things are rough at home. For most Sagittarius, I know things are rough at home right now, and you may still feel oppressed. And of course, you're ready to travel, you're ready to get out and do things, but depending on where you are in the world, that may not be possible. So this can leave you feeling powerless and angry. And there's also a possibility of codependency and maybe even self-medicating. And maybe that's gotten out of control, and maybe, you are drinking a bit too much or indulging in sweets too much or something else like that to try and pass the time. And it's quite possible all of this is stopping your forward momentum or your forward growth right now. So you're feeling stuck anyway because of the pandemic, the economy, everything going on. And then also this energy at home is just kind of multiplying that feeling. And it's also a sign that things need to change at home. The devil card doesn't necessarily mean somebody is invoking the devil to hurt you, but it generally means things are going off the rails. There is negative energy and negative behavior. The situation is escalating and it's getting further and further out of control. So it's a really important sign now rather than later. It's time to get things back under control. And I don't really feel that you're really surprised by this. You know it's time, and things have been deteriorating for a while. Get things back on track and take control of what's really happening around you. Imagine for a moment that you were a stranger just walking into your home. What would you see? What is the energy like? How are you communicating with your friends, your loved ones, your roommate, your partner? How is this going? And really look at it with fresh eyes, objectively, and look at the changes that need to be made and start implementing them in March. Sagittarius gets into relationships, which we'll look at in just a minute, but Sagittarius gets into relationships quite easily because they attract people. You're fun-loving, you're knowledgeable, and you're ready for adventure, so people flock to you. But Sagittarius doesn't commit easily. When you do commit, it's for life. And not all the other signs believe the same. So really be honest about where you are at home and what needs to change. So from that, we'll look at your love life. Oh, wow, did you see that? I couldn't have done that if I tried. Let's do an instant replay of this. Yeah, that card flew out and hit the top of the candle. Okay, so I would say pay attention. This is a very important card. The Two of Wands. In this card, we see a man holding a globe, which pretty much means that you have the whole world in your hands. Every opportunity is laid out before you. But the question is, what will you do? This card represents planning, making decisions, moving forward, leaving maybe your comfort zone and taking risks. But it's also something where anything could happen because you have all the possibilities in the world. For single Sag, I would read this card as there's plenty of opportunities. Are you going to make a love match? Possibly. Will it be something that changes your life? Possibly. Is it something you should rush into? Never. But be open to the opportunities that are around you. I suspect what you've been dreaming about has actually started manifesting for you. So that person may not pop up at the beginning of March, but later on, maybe into April, you might see a new flock of suitors around you. Big changes happen for you at the end of the year, but that doesn't mean you can't have fun till then and spend some time getting to know different people in the meantime. So yes, it's time for a single Sag to start dating again. For a partnered Sag, this card in the love position means that you're in the process of considering changes and making the plans to do so. If that relationship isn't quite working right now, it's time to make adjustments. If you're considering leaving or making a stronger commitment, this card promises great change. As long as you're working together for the good of the relationship and you can envision exactly what you want, this is the time to put your thoughts into action. So in other words, if you're engaged, but you've just been waiting for the right time and you don't care about a big wedding, the end of March would probably be a great time to get married. But if the relationship is off the rails, no, of course not. This could be a time when you start considering in March and maybe in April ending it. This is about communication with your partner and creating a path together for the future that you both want. And it's important that the decisions you make together now be honest, because they have the ability to push the two of you either closer together or further apart. So it's really important to get on the same page. So that brings us to the outcome. And this card is the Hermit. So we see at this point that there have been 3 major cards show up, signaling that a lot of what you're going through was preordained and part of your soul's growth. Has it been easy? Oh, hell no. Will it get easier? Oh yeah, sure, it will. You are almost on the other side of this, so don't lose faith and know that things won't always be like they are now. We know with these 3 major cards out of that entire deck that you're moving forward, you're facing these problems, you're overcoming these obstacles, and even though things may not logically be falling into place, you've already conquered a lot of these tough lessons. But in truth, healing is like peeling an onion. There are layers and layers to every experience, and we can only heal a small part at a time, making this an ongoing process. The good news is, it seems when you address these big issues, you'll finally be free from the past and you'll be able to move on without them shadowing every experience that you're in, whether it's a relationship or a work problem or whatever it may be. They will no longer be the filter that you see life through. So while most of March is going to be so-so, the end of the month in April will make up for it. As I say, the Hermit isn't a bad card for the outcome. The Hermit is a seeker of knowledge, and knowledge that comes from within. To connect with your higher self and attain the knowledge that you seek, you must disconnect from crowds and move away from people who are loud and who tell you what, they think you should be doing. You're not one anyway, Sagittarius, to follow the crowd. You strike out on your own because you know what's right for you. But this isn't a normal time, and you may be feeling insecure and you may be feeling like you can't trust yourself to make the right choices. And if that's the case, you probably do have someone in your life who is more than happy to micromanage for you. But you know what? They really don't understand you, and they don't understand what you want. So it's best that you thank them for their advice, but then you listen to that tiny voice inside you. And it's time to really get clear on what you want and where you want to be at the end of the year. Once you come up with a plan, and it can be vague, it doesn't have to be step by step every day of every week till the end of the year, but just a general idea of where you'd like to live, what career would interest you, then the universe will get behind you and bring this to you. But until you're clear, it's chaos. And let me shuffle the last card, which is from the crystal deck, just really quickly. Oh, nice. Fluorite. Fluorite's a lovely stone. This stone works to balance the heart, the third eye, and the crown chakras. It can help you release negative beliefs and open the way to creating a better life experience overall. Fluorite helps you to reconnect with your free spirit and empowers your personal wishes. The calming energy of fluorite is also helpful when you feel stressed or overwhelmed with emotions. When you feel discouraged, carry fluorite with you to raise your vibration. Meditating with fluorite can not only help balance the chakras, but also assist you in removing blocks that stop you from being successful or being successful in creating the destiny that you aspire to. So overall, this was a pretty good reading. Yes, it could have been better. There weren't really any surprises in it. We know that your home life has been rough. We know that you've been struggling, but it's good to see that there is a light at the end of the tunnel and things will get better. Take this time, take the majority of March to get clear on what you want and listen to yourself. Listen to that inner voice inside. Call on your guides, call on your angels, call on your ancestors, whoever makes sense to you, and ask them for advice as well, because this is a time when your life can change dramatically. You have the ability to manifest like crazy. So put your emphasis on the positive and manifest what you want. Okay, I hope you enjoyed this little mini reading, and once again, I do apologize for leaving you out of Mercury retrograde. I'm so sorry. If you haven't already, please subscribe, because who knows what video I'll make next. Okay, thank you guys so much for being a part of the Serenity family, and I'll see you for the next video. Reiki blessings. Bye-bye.